Welcome, everybody, to episode 27 of Everyone Hates the Commissioner. Brian, welcome back. How you doing?
Good, good. Thanks for having me again. Good to be back.
Yeah, it's been a fun football season so far. Um and how are you doing? Are you enjoying the year or not as much as last year? Or what are your
I
thoughts on
mean,
the whole
I,
thing?
I love fantasy football regardless, so I'm having a decent time. Uh, don't love my position where I'm at, but hey, that's all right. Not every year can be your year.
Yeah, and you're kind of like a dark horse a little bit last year, kind of snuck, didn't you and I, didn't we have to kind of go the hard way to get to where we were?
Yeah, I want to say I was a four seed, so it could happen again, but I'm not as hopeful as I was last year.
So are you in more leagues than just than this one?
Yep, I have a work one where it's a partial keeper or a partial dynasty where we have six keepers, and then I'm in Cody's league as well, where that's just a single keeper every year.
Yeah, I was in that one the last couple years. I had to back out because I joined a second dynasty league that Dan had started. So things kind of I thought things were going to get a little hectic, but now I'm kind of ready to do a third one.
Oh my God. Dynasty leagues are a lot of work.
I
A lot
know.
more work than a normal league.
Oh, for sure. But it's actually I don't know. I love it. And actually I think I texted you earlier because I have been kind of thinking about, and I'm not a big NBA guy, but I do enjoy watching it. But something to kind of get us through the spring. The Sleeper as has an NBA dynasty fantasy league. So I'm thinking about maybe doing one of those and just do low stakes, just something kind of a little small, nothing too crazy. So just to kind of get us through the spring until baseball season really kicks in.
That would be even more effort, but that'd be interesting, something like that. I know baseball and basketball leagues, they kind of can consume your life.
Well, luckily on Sleeper, so it's not like you'd have to set your lineup every single day. They go each week. So they'll take your like the players' stats each week. So they'll I don't know if they take their best game of the week or how it works, but you just set it every week rather than every time they play. So they make it a little bit easier. I can't remember. I read into it a little bit more, but yeah, I mean, shit, seeing this Victor Wembanyama character out there
Yeah.
kind of makes you want to have a kind of do something fun like that. So we're thinking about it. Just gotta get some people. I don't know. That's gonna be might be a tough one to fill.
I don't even know what a basketball league entails. Is eight teams a normal amount? 12 teams? I have no idea.
I don't know. I mean, I think I did start the league technically just so I could kind of play around with some of these settings, but I was hoping to do 12 teams, and then here let me just real quick be so your team would consist of a point guard. Shoot, you have the five, actually I'm sorry, you'd have a point guard, shooting guard, then you have a another guard regardless of the position. Same thing with the forwards. So you'd have two, your small forward, power forward, and then another forward spot, and then a center, and then you could throw two utility guys in there. So that is one, two, three, about eight, nine guys on your weekly roster. So I don't know. I think it might be kind of fun.
Yeah,
So 12 times
I started
nine.
one 12 times
So
nine. I mean, how many fantasy scorers are there in the NBA? I would have to be a whole deep dive.
that's the thing. So maybe 12 would be too much, or you could maybe take away those additional slots in there, but utility slots or something. But yeah, you'd have to kind of try to find that happy medium so everybody's got something. So a few guys. So, but I don't know. It's something like I said, might be something fun to do.
Yeah, for sure.
So, have you been to any Packer games this year?
Nope. We'll be going this Sunday though. We'll be
You
headed to
are.
Lambeau for the Charger game. Yep.
That'll be fun. So, tell me your thoughts on kind of the Packers season in general, and what you're kind of expecting this weekend.
I'm not expecting much, Packers wise. As you can tell through like our group chat, I'm very not anti-Packer, as I feel that some people maybe are. But yeah, it just happened. Like we can't expect to be a winning team all the time. Like, and we can't blame solely on coaching staff or players. There's a combination blame that needs to go around, and you
Yeah.
kind of got to roll with the punches and just hope to be better next year.
Yeah, I will say you are definitely more of the positive ones in our group text when it comes to the Packers, because then I know I get a little emotional after watching Jay Love struggle, and I'm ready to just vent. But
Yeah, no, I get it. Like, it's all fun and games. It literally is just fun and games. But I just feel like it's hard to like say, oh man, we went from what we've had for like the last X amount of years to this. Yeah, it's gonna be a struggle, but in a way, this opens up for me. I can just enjoy good football for the year. Like, not that I can't every year, but like, I honestly don't care about anything else, just watching good games. So,
yeah, and I don't know. I guess if you had to pick like one thing though that's making the biggest impact, and I agree with you 100%. There's more than just one person to blame. But if you would have to say like kind of what would you think like what would be like the biggest factor of what there is? You think it's coaching, or do you think it's quarterback play, defense?
mm, I I don't think it's specific quarterback play. I know people want to blame the defense for just how much they give up when it comes, but I will say I'll blame the whole offense actually because if the defense is going to be out there every 5 minutes and the offense goes three and out constantly, I mean they're just getting run into the ground, and that I can't expect much out of a defense that's just always on the field. So
Yeah,
just the
so
offensive as a collective.
yeah, and I would agree with that too. But what is your take on Joe Barry?
Yeah, don't love the guy. I mean, I don't have any attachments to anyone on our coaching staff, that's for sure. I think we have some stellar looking players on our defense. We just don't get really many stellar plays out of them. So
Hmm. Yeah, and I thought it was really kind of amusing this last game, and I didn't catch all of it against Pittsburgh this last Sunday, but um, it was kind of the battle of the two worst coordinators in football, it seemed, between Matt Canada and Joe Barry. And I tell you what, Joe Barry sure made Matt Canada look like a fucking genius on Sunday at times, then especially that first couple drives that they were running up and down the
yeah,
field.
yeah, especially like a Kenny Pickett led offense. It's nothing to very be proud of going against that. But
No, that was yeah, that was tough to watch. But I mean, I guess Joe Barry, I think his head's on the chopping block this offseason. And that's gonna be Matt LaFleur's scapegoat. Because that's gonna kind of save his gig. And I don't think Matt
so
LaFleur is going
yeah,
anywhere.
we can talk about that a little bit because it depends on how it all shakes out a little bit, I guess, because it Joe Barry can be the first to go, and many people will be okay with that. But is it going to end there? Are they going to clean house from management all the way down? And it's like even if I love Matt LaFleur for what he did for us for these last few years, and like it's
Mhm.
just another instance of yeah, it's a down year, and someone's got to take the fall. Whether that's LaFleur or the whole management, it's hard to keep just one guy if you're going to clean house, though.
It's very true. I mean, I feel like the whole Mike McCarthy era, they were trying to do that there at the end, and then kind of with letting guys go, and then Matt LaFleur ended up keeping Mike Patton for a year, and it just kind of the first year on his staff, and it was kind of funny. But I agree, it's hard to keep one guy around. If you're gonna do it, then you're gonna might as well do it and do it right. Just start fresh. But
Yeah.
I Jordan Love has definitely struggled at times this year, and I haven't minced on some words about that, but his receiver play, the receiver room is struggling this year,
Yeah.
especially with drops. It's not help. Excuse me, that's not helping anything. In
No, his
Christian
confidence. I
Watson.
mean, uh, he's a great quarter. Like he can throw the ball. Like there's no question about that. So if he can just get a confidence booster, maybe it changes things. But we haven't seen it. So
Yeah, Christian Watson was supposed to be the next guy. I mean, you get to work with a year or work, a year with Aaron Rodgers, and they spent a pretty high draft pick on him, and it just I don't know if it's the drops or like you said, maybe getting just a boost of confidence, trying to get, kind of get back. But man, that's kind of tough watching him play right now too. He's not. I mean, for as big as he is, he's not as aggressive as you would like going up and getting the
Mhm.
football. But hey, Jaden Reed and Dobbs, hey, they're not looking bad. But I
I
still don't think
I enjoy
that
their combo. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I just don't think that they're number one guys. I think they're really, really good complementary guys and like really good number twos. But I still think we need a legit number one and a playmaker, and I don't know if we have that right now.
No, I mean, it would be great if we could just find one with what we got, but it's just they seem to be trying and it's not really there. So
Yeah, they are making an effort. You can't say that they're not. They're putting a lot of young talent around Jordan Love. I mean, hey, I tell you what, maybe Luke Musgrave can be to the Packers what Travis Kelce is to the Chiefs.
I'm all for it. Let's get him out in the middle of the field and just dump him some balls, like a little wide dump, 7, 8 yards or whatever, and just give him the ball.
Yeah, he's way too big and way too athletic to not get the ball in his hands. At least, I mean, even I know he's a rookie, and I would say more, but if as a rookie, I would say get the ball in his hands at least 6, 7 times a game because he seems to be open a lot, and he is big and fast enough that he can make some guys miss and extend some plays. So
100%. Put the ball in the hands of people that can make plays. That put the ball in the best playmakers' hands.
And there another tight end that I'm not sure if you've been keeping up with. Hey, actually, that reminds me, you and I are playing each other this week.
I was hoping you wouldn't notice, but yeah,
It's a
there's
it's a it's a big matchup of the 6 and 4 teams.
yeah, I'm summary of my season. I'm not looking forward to this week as much as I would, but hey, whatever can happen. JJ does have a projected point total, but he's still sitting on the IR, so we'll see.
Oh, is he? Hey, actually, talking about him, I was reading an article real briefly about him and the fact that a lot of experts think that he's going to be even better with Josh Dobbs than he was with Kirk Cousins. So that could be.
Actually, really excited. Well, just because I'm not in any way rooting for another NFC North team, but like Josh Dobbs has been playing fun football, especially in Minnesota, and that's cool. That's just that right there.
Yeah, and how I agree. Like, how can you not root for a guy like that was brought in off the street? And then did you see that little kind of like clip that they had about him that he wasn't even able to find his own jersey when he was down in Arizona, that he couldn't even find it.
Yeah,
He was a starting quarterback, and then shit plays well enough to at least compete. I mean, that's a bad Arizona team down there, and it plays well enough to keep games relatively close, and then plays to the point where at least a division contender, maybe not a Super Bowl contender, but winning the division, and the Minnesota Vikings go out and spend a relatively good amount of draft capital on bringing him in. So yeah, I think that's a really cool story too. I agree 100%. And he's um I mean, I remember hearing about Josh Dobbs a lot the last how many years, but it's like he was just never given a legit shot to spend some time on the
no.
field.
This reminds me of like a four years ago Gardner Minshew type of thing. Like he steps up and he can just ball out and just have so much fun playing football. That's the vibes I'm getting from this, which is awesome.
Yeah, it is, and it's going to be a really interesting offseason for him because there's some execs out there that think he is a high level number two, so he could get some serious money as being a backup somewhere. I don't know. I mean,
Make some Matt Flynn money. Yeah.
yeah, he's playing good enough that he should be starting on probably a good handful of the teams in the NFL right now. I mean, with all these injuries and the rookie quarterbacks that are being kind of forced into their situation, but Josh Dobbs is playing better than could you say he's playing like top 10, 12 quarterbacks right now? Like right now, I'm not saying that
I,
he is that good, but right
no,
now he's.
yeah, but 100%. Like I would say in a 12 team league, you'd be looking to start a guy like that, honestly.
Yeah, and he's way more athletic than I would have thought too. He's kind of sneaky fast.
Yeah.
Rocket scientist too.
I did not know that. He does look like a brainiac.
Yeah, he did some work with NASA this last offseason. They actually sent I'm sorry, I was about to say a tweet, an X out with him in his NASA
Nice.
gear. So that was pretty cool.
Oh, best of both worlds for that guy. Cool.
I know you got the brains and the physical ability. I know it. You know that. Hey, I'd take it if I was him. But like I said, we are at you and I are at it's going to be a really interesting week for us because you and I are the 5 and 6 seeds and we're both 6 and 4. And I don't think yeah, Jake's in front of us at 7 and 3, and then we have 3 teams at 8 and 2. So this could be a pretty big game, especially depending on what happens with John. So and John is
Yeah,
going to
John's
be
just creeping up there. Like he wants to be in the playoffs this year. It's crazy.
yeah, and he's got a good matchup. Sorry, Emily, but he's got a good matchup against Emily this week. So never and so that could be an easy win for him. So I guess it's going to kind of get down to points and kind of looking at that real quick. Um, John is actually so however this plays out, John's at 1274. I'm at 1275 and you're at 1212. So this could change some seating around pretty drastically. It could.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to say I can see my writing on the wall for this week, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. You want to know who I
Well,
feel bad for in terms of talking about points? This is just funny.
yeah,
Poor
it's kind of, but you
Bo.
can't feel bad for him. You can't feel
No,
bad for him. It's funny.
I
Like
I think it's funny, but I mean, what
I
are the
want I
odds
want
of
to
it?
play against Bo. I want to score a lot of points. Like,
Yeah, right? I mean, Bo is at 1,526 points against, right? And the next highest of for anybody else, they haven't even cracked 1,300 yet. So
yeah.
yep, that is good. I mean, yeah, he's taking it without he's getting it without a courtesy spit on a little bit on that one, but what do you do?
Yeah, no kidding. Like,
It's
why can't I
fantasy
play
football.
Bo and have a Joe Mixon go off for 40 points that week or something like that? That'd be great.
Yeah, yep. So, but anyways, so like kind of talking about some tight ends. The one guy, and I know that I'm a little bit biased here, but talking about young tight ends that are making a severe impact on their team, Dalton Kincaid, that guy looks like the real deal.
I agree 100%. I have him in my six keeper league. So I'm a big fan of Dalton. I had Dawson Knox and Dalton for the longest time, and I finally gave up. I was just handcuffing there, and I'd straight up just dropped Knox over that.
So he got hurt, and I noticed at the first 4 or 5 games, whatever, they were running a lot of 12 personnel, one running back, two tight ends, two wide receivers. So now that Nelson Knox got knocked out for a little bit, and he was put on the IR, so a minimum of 4 weeks. The, Kincaid's kind of established himself, and I think that was the plan. Obviously, that was the plan in the long term. But I mean, do you think that that's going to kind of stay, or you think they're going to kind of go back to that 12 personnel? You think they're going to try to keep? I mean, Dawson Knox isn't a bad player by any means, but they're paying him a lot of money, and they
Yeah,
invested a first round pick on Kincaid.
yeah. I think it's hard to say because I think they're playing worse now the way that things have been going for them on offense. But at the same time, I think Kincaid's been playing better. So I don't know how you would balance that. Like if you want to switch the scheme but then focus on Kincaid, maybe somehow that combination, or you just stick with what you're doing and hope the rest of your team starts playing better.
Yeah, what do you think's going on over there in Buffalo? It's tough to be a Buffalo Bill fan right now.
I wouldn't enjoy it. Well, I can't talk much. We lost to the Broncos too, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe their mid-season firing that they just did this week will switch things up for them. I mean, they have so much talent on their offense. It's crazy. You'd think they'd be out there lighting up the scoreboard like did against Miami early in the season. But
Yeah, and they kind of have talent all over the board too. I mean, they're loaded at safety. I mean, I think Tre'Davious White tore his Achilles unfortunately this year, but I mean, their secondary is not is pretty good. Then they have Von Miller and Ed uh is it Ed Oliver? Yeah, Ed Oliver on the defensive
Mhm.
line, and then Greg Rousseau. I don't know how to say his last name, but they
Uh,
have a really good team, and like you said, tons of talent, but something's not clicking there. And I don't know if it's all on the turnovers by 17 or not, but I mean that's not helping. But yeah, that
no.
is. So I want to know what's going on. It's kind of odd. I mean, they've lost to a couple teams that you wouldn't really think that they should. So, I mean, who did they just lose to before the Broncos? I thought there was another kind of a team that they're just kind of like what the Patriots. They lost to the
Yeah,
Patriots.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what's going on over there in Buffalo, but yeah, it's probably a little tough to be a fan out there right now. So but what else you got any what else you got any other thoughts on the leagues this year? You got any big favorite trades that kind of happen? Anything interesting?
Nah, I didn't make too many blockbuster trades in this league or any flashy trades. I did feel comfortable with the trades I made, specifically with you and Bo. I was able to move my draft capital up. I mean, I kind of sold, I kind of didn't because I see where my team's going. Like the way I'm sitting right now is I'm not going to lose to the worst teams, but I'm also probably not going to beat the best teams, and that kind of puts me right in the fact where I'm not going to quite make the lottery. I'll just have like a middle draft, which kind of sucks. I'm not looking forward to that. So that's why I just tried to move up in the rounds with the trades I did with you and Bo.
Yep.
But that last day or 2 days, technically, I had some serious almost lost JJ. I almost sent him away.
No way.
Yeah, it was pretty close. There was a few offers from two different people.
Uh-oh.
It was the closest it's been though. It was a lot. It was a lot.
Well, yeah, I mean that kind of I mean when he's out there, I mean you're getting probably 25 points. And where I mean that's just I mean obviously you have a couple of these big games from some receivers and we'll talk about those a little bit later, but I mean it yeah, that guy it would have to be a lot for me to want to move. I don't even know if I would even consider I don't know. They'd have to throw it would, I mean, I don't know what a lot is and what it was. I don't know what the offer was, but it'd have to be quite a bit for me to even
Well,
think about it.
without naming names, I can say it was a lot of capital for this coming draft and also players involved. So
Okay. All right. I think I
high
have
level
an idea.
capital. Like, yeah.
So he almost got to you, huh?
Almost. I almost cracked. I told him that too. I told him it was the closest I've come. But
Oh, that's funny. Well, we're gonna have we have yeah, I mean, the receiver play has been fun. I mean, Dan, Stu, and Aaron are kind of running away with this right now. I mean, Grant, you and I are only 2 games behind, but in terms of like points for and I mean, shit, we only have 4 more weeks to go, which is kind of crazy until playoffs. So
yeah.
it's getting down there, and it's really funny. Stu told me before him and I made that trade with Keenan Allen. He told me like the day before. He goes, "Yep, my team's done." He goes, it's not working out the way I thought. My team, we're not gonna win." I'm thinking at this time he was like 7-2. I'm like, bro, you're 7-2 and you're giving up on your season. But I'll
Yeah.
take Keenan Allen off your hands.
That works out well for you. I mean, especially this last week. Jeepers. Like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. Trust me. I mean, granted, it was kind of already in the bag, beating Bo by 106 points, but I didn't need it. I actually sent Dan a text. I'm like,
Yeah.
Keenan, save some for next week, dude. But
Yeah.
that's right. It was kind of getting to the point where I just, when you're like, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how your Sundays are when you're watching football without like people, but I get all pumped up every time there's a touchdown. I don't I'm just, yeah, yeah, let's go. But
Yeah.
when like towards the end, especially on like Sunday night, I just started laughing at every time something like that, like like just started piling on like a CD Lamb and like, oh god, this is gonna be bad.
Uh, 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 Yeah.
but but yeah, well, we're gonna have a big and a great game tomorrow night. Should be a good one, a good divisional matchup. And what do you think? What do you say? Should we see what our favorite boy has to say
Oh
about
yeah, 100%.
see what he's got to say about that game? So here. Great. All right. Well, there he is. There's our birthday boy on that day, Obes. So like I was telling you a little bit before, it was a busy week last week, so we weren't able to do a pod, but I did let him make his Thursday night pick, of course. So unfortunately, he did not. He took the Bears, or I'm sorry, the Panthers, and the Bears won. So
Uh,
yep, Obes dropped down to 5-4, but that's okay. He's got this week, so let's see what he has to say. Welcome everybody to Obie's Picks. It's week 11, and Obes is on a little bit of a slow and rough patch here after his hot start at the beginning of the year. This week we have a wonderful AFC North matchup between the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals. So let's see what you got, buddy. Come on. He's going with Baltimore. Not who I would have taken, but see how you do, bud. Well, Oaks went with the Baltimore Ravens.
I'm on board with that. I think I think they might. I think they can beat the Bengals. I don't know.
Well,
They're
this might be I think we've had a couple, maybe one or two pretty good matchups on Thursday night, but this might be the best one of the year so far.
I hope so. I mean, last week was not
Yeah,
a good
that's
matchup at all.
yeah, that's pretty rough. I mean, I feel like
Well,
I mean, I understand that they're trying to expand everything, in terms of going to across the seas, and you got to experience that last year. But and then doing the Thursday night thing, and they've been doing this Thursday night thing for a long time, but and I don't know. I mean, if you want to get people to watch these games on Thursday night, I guess to be fair, you don't know that the Panthers and the Bears are going to be the two biggest dog shit teams in the NFL by week 10.
mm,
You don't know that, but you probably have a general idea, right?
yeah, I mean, yeah. If you had to make an educated guess, they would have been at near the top of your list. But
Yeah. So I don't know. I think, and I'm not sure if they're just saving some of these better matchups as later on as the season goes on. I'm not sure, but and every team does have to play on Monday Night Football, or I'm sorry, Thursday Night Football. But man, I mean, we need some better matchups. So I'm really excited about this one. Obviously, my team kind of rides and dies by Cincinnati. So, but I'm
yeah,
excited
we'll see
about
what.
this one.
I'm open for a lot of Joe Burrow to Joe Mixon touchdown passes.
Oh,
I'll
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
take that. I'll settle for that. Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, hey, I love the AFC North battles. They're mean, they're they're physical, and um I don't know, they're fun. It just feels, I don't know, I don't know about what you think, but it just feels a little bit different than maybe some other, I don't know, other divisions.
I would agree. Like you don't get this feeling for the AFC South. I mean,
No, and I guess like that's kind of a funny, I mean, kind of thing about that where things do feel differently. Like each division does feel different, right? Because those teams are trying to like you're trying to match up and best these other teams because those are obviously very important games. That's 6 games out of your season, right? So I mean, like when we were playing when Aaron Rodgers was at the top of his game in Green Bay, you saw a lot of these other division, like the Bears, Vikings, and Lions. You saw a lot of them. They were taking these, often defensive players or secondary players because they were trying to slow down Aaron Rodgers, right? So it's like depending on what the top dog in each division is doing, you're like they're trying to replicate and stop, and it just kind of creates, like you said, creates this whole different vibe in each division, and it's kind of interesting. So, and like it's AFC North, it's always pretty hard hitting and physical. It's fun.
You know,
But I mean, like you said, I mean the South, what do you do with the AFC South? I mean, what
you
is
don't get
that?
excited about the Colts versus Titans. Like there's no excitement there. So
Although the Texans and Jags could be interesting for a long time with Trevor Lawrence and CJ
yeah,
Stroud.
it could be. It could. Well, just newfound Texans. Like even the beginning of the year, you didn't think they were going to start balling like this, but CJ Stroud's been fun to watch.
No, I would have and I was waiting to be proven wrong, but the Ohio State quarterback track record was not very good until this year. And granted, it's only been ten games for them, or 9 games, I'm sorry, but yeah, you're right. He's looking mighty fine down there, looking like he should have been the number one guy, but I still believe in Bryce a little bit though. I'm not giving up on him.
Yeah, I don't think it's his like similar to Green Bay. It's not Bryce Young's fault. It's just bad football team. That's all it is.
Yeah, not a lot of help there. Offensive line struggles. Some bad. I mean, he doesn't have much help in receiving. Adam Thielen looks good. Um, but when a 32, 33-year-old Adam Thielen is your best option,
Yeah.
then you need some help. Trading DJ Moore away didn't help much there. Could have really used a guy like that.
Yeah, that would have been probably pretty good. Although, I mean, the Bears are not doing that great themselves, so it's not like he's been benefiting the team he's on now.
Yeah. So what is your favorite division kind of to keep an eye on? And like, is it the NFC North? Let's just say besides the NFC North, obviously, because we have we're kind of invested in there. But do you have kind of a division that you like watching? I mean, like right now, obviously they all in changing the players and all that stuff. But like kind of right now, what would be your favorite division to kind of keep an eye on?
I'd say the AFC West probably. Maybe it's trailing off now, but you always used to be almost a guaranteed good game with the AFC West.
Yeah, and it was going into last year. I mean, it could have um there was some. I mean, I thought that there it was a legitimate chance of having all four of those teams in the playoffs. You know, with the Broncos bringing in Russell Wilson, the Raiders were never really that bad. I mean, they weren't great, but they weren't bad
Yeah.
enough. I mean, they were always a fringe playoff team. Um, Obviously, it didn't work out like that last year. But yeah, that was. I mean, now with Justin Herbert really kind of elevating, um, obviously Patrick Mahomes, and then yeah, that division's fun to watch. There's some good quarterback play down there. Always thought the NFC West was relatively fun too. Those I've just felt like those guys just beat the shit out of each other all the time with the
They do.
Rams, Seahawks, Cardinals, and Rams, Seahawks, Rams, Cardinals, 49ers,
You
49ers.
forget they're running away with it, so you kind of forget that they're part
Yeah.
of the division now. But,
Yeah, the AFC North does look really good though. Like I said, it'll be a fun one to watch tomorrow night. That whole division looks good. I think the Bengals are actually last in their division at 5-4, or 4-5. Um, but everybody else, I mean, Pittsburgh, who'd have thunk Pittsburgh be 6-3 this year? And
yeah.
I don't think that they have outscored. I'm not outscored, but they have had more yards offensively than any of their opponents all year, and they're still 6-3. That's rough.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, that's hard nosed AFC North football, though. They score when it counts.
Yep, and that defense is stepping up, and they just think they don't didn't even have Minka Fitzpatrick last week. So imagine if we played against Minka, it could have been brutal, could have been bad.
Yeah, loss is a loss, though, so I would have accepted it all the same.
This is true. This is very true. So, all right. Well, what do you say? We're getting into some predictions.
Yeah, let's hit it.
All right. Oops, sorry. All right, Brian, you got some players of the week here, buddy. Who'd you go with?
Well, when you asked me, yep, I had to go look at your team for either choice I was thinking about, and I settled with Keenan Allen. Uh, just for the sheer when I was comparing him and the other receiver on your team, it's kind of up in the air because they both put up pretty much same numbers. They're both 11 for 14. Keenan Allen just had one more point, so he
Got to
he was a very reliable target for Justin Herbert.
Yep, and it's I'm really hoping that he can. I'm not sure what his status is going to be in the future, but luckily he's staying healthy this year, and it should help make a good push into the playoffs here
Yeah,
this fantasy football playoffs. But I you were just alluding to this player, but hey, I got to go with him.
yeah.
I mean, how can you not, right? So, oh, shoot, sorry. So I went with CeeDee Lamb, 11 catches on 14 targets, 151 yards and a touchdown. Like you said, you were right. Only 1 point less there, just 10 yards and total yards. CD had that one rush for 14 and a touchdown. That kind of that jet sweep to the outside. Um, yeah, that he has been so much fun to watch these last few weeks. And I have a CD Lamb stat for you, Brian. Are you ready for it?
No, yeah, I'm excited. Yeah.
So CeeDee Lamb is the first player in NFL history to record 3 straight weeks of at least 10 catches and 150 receiving yards.
No kidding.
So you're looking at right there. Just think if you do that as the minimum without any tutties. That's 25 points of fantasy at least in 3 weeks.
Great.
So
Three back to back to back. Have you won
uh,
every the last 3 weeks?
no, last let me see here. Obviously it put a beat down on Bo last week. Week 9, barely lost to Stu. Remember, he streamed the Chargers defense against the
Yeah, yeah.
Jets. And then the week before, though, I did win. It was another high scoring for me last that week. So I had a high score and highest score in week 8 and then week 10. But no, had some other guys struggle last week, and Stu got me. It was really needed that one though. That would I think that would have really elevated me
Yeah.
into
You can save that victory for the playoffs because comes playoffs,
that's
you just got to win two, 3 games, and that's all it takes.
that's right. You just got to get to the big dance. So, yep.
Yep.
Again, some really fun wide receiver play out of these two guys this last weekend, and hopefully we can kind of keep it up because they are both on the old Joe Bar and the Chase squad. So, hell yeah. Um. All right, player to watch. Who do you got?
We'll keep it with the powder blue and the terrible rush defense. So Austin Eckler.
I like that pick. I think with the Green Bay Packers really struggling to stop the run here recently, and not to mention that, I mean, this guy is a beast at pretty much everything that he does. So, I mean, look at him there, look all jacked up. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, I think he's going to have a monster game, and I think both him and Keenan Allen are going to have, and Justin Herbert. I think Justin Herbert might have a. I don't think he's going to have a career game, but I think he's going to have one of his best games this season. Um,
yeah,
and yeah, I think those big three on offense are really going to torch Green Bay. It's supposed to be a really nice. You got lucky. It's going to be a great weekend too. You're gonna not going to have to worry about
yeah.
too much weather.
No weather. It'll be comfortable seating. Standing, we're in standing room, but it'll be good. It'll be a good experience. I'm expecting a lot of points, just probably one-sided.
Yeah, probably. So, all right. Well, I'm gonna go with the Sun God against Chicago. I think Chicago now. I think Chicago is going to keep this game a little bit closer than some may think. Personally, but Amon Ra is an outstanding wide receiver, and I think he's going to have a field day against that bad Chicago team this year or this week. I'm sorry. So yeah, we shall see.
Good pick. I'm a fan of this guy specifically, and like I said before, I'm not trying to root for the NFC North, but the Lions story has been pretty awesome too. So if they're gonna do it, I hope they do it right and they win out the NFC North and play exciting football with guys like this.
Yeah, they definitely did it right. And if I was to do what they did, I mean, I know that like last year we kind of played that GM game. Like what would you do if you were a GM? Where would you kind of build? I mean, these guys did it kind of as good as you can do. They built it from the ground up, right? So your linemen, your offensive linemen, they just invested a lot of good draft capital there and um defensive lineman and then just kind of plugged in here and getting some good quarterback play out of Jared Goff, making some good moves financially. And I mean, besides Jared Goff, who they absorbed that contract from the Rams, but I mean, can you really name another Lions player that they really invested in financially? Because I'm not sure if I can. I mean, Gardner
Not yet, at
Johnson,
least. Mhm.
yeah, oh yeah, you're right. They're going to be paying him, and that's usually paying a lot of people, and then that's when things usually fall apart. But right now, they are at that peak. They're at that peak when they have a lot of very, very good players on cheap contracts, and um, and it's all coming together.
Yeah, I was just talking with a coworker today. I mean, if you think about it, probably have the best 1-2 backfield. If you can even name like another 1-2 backfield that you would call like a 1-2 punch, because like, sure, CMC is just as good as Gibbs and Montgomery, but like having Gibbs and Montgomery is something to say.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, I mean, and they have been in like you said, they've been doing that kind of doing that. They've had a really good 1-2 punch, and then with either if one of those guys is out, those both of those running backs are still capable to handle the rock a majority of the game if they need to. But yeah, I mean, there's something to say about having two good running backs because that yes, you can get it done with one. If you have a really good one, like you said with CMC, but as the season goes on, it's a lot of abuse for those guys. And now with this extra game, and then I think it takes a lot off those running backs if they can have another guy, a solid guy to go in there and have a really good complementary change of pace back. So, but yeah, I agree. It's up there. I don't know if there's a better 1-2 punch out there right now. So, all right. Let's see. You got a lock to win here, Brian. Ooh,
Yeah,
both
yeah.
5-2. Both 5-2.
Oh, look at that. So I'll lock with probably the team that is playing the worst team in the league. So the Commanders over the Giants. The Giants don't look good at all.
No,
It's
they
been
don't.
tough. Even last week that it was like what 16 and a half against the Cowboys, and 16 and a half is so many points. And then next thing I know, the Cowboys are up 28-0. So
Yeah, yeah, and that is tough too because you're in the Pick'em League, in
yeah.
John's Pick'em League. So, um, and that might be, I think that's the second biggest point spread I've seen. I think there was a game last year with the Chiefs that was like 18 and a half, and I think it might have been like the Chiefs versus the Texans last year. So that one was damn close, but that's a tough one. I mean, 17 points, that's a lot of points. Especially to pick I mean, granted they did it and they did it comfortably,
No,
but
it
that's a
easily
lot of
too. Yeah.
yeah, but it's just like that's a tough pick. It's like that's a lot of points to cover, but like you said, they did the Giants are pretty bad and I'm going to have to agree with you there with Washington kind of beating them up. But so like we said before, we're both 5-2. So this is gonna get pretty interesting down the stretch, I think, on that stat or on that one. But I'm going with another 10.5 point spread, and I'm going with the 49ers to um take down the Buccaneers. I think that this bringing Chase Young in and they kind of got their footing a little bit this last week. And I think those two defensive ends, I think those guys are gonna between Chase Young and Nick Bosa, I think they're gonna kind of run through Tampa Bay and kind of put some serious pressure on Baker. You know, Baker does with pressure.
Yeah, I would agree. That was my next pick.
Was it?
And their 49ers, the 49ers offense is just like, geez, like what do you do if you take down one target? So you take down Deebo Samuel, oh, there's Brandon Ayuk, or you take down Brandon Ayuk, there's George Kittle. Oh, let's just hand the ball to CMC. Like, I don't know what you're gonna
Yeah.
do with that.
Yep. As long as Brock Purdy doesn't turn over the football, that team is going to be running pretty fast up and down the field. So actually, quick about the spreads here. There's two teams. Actually, I'm sorry, three teams that are favored by 10.5. So we have this game, we have both of these games, and that third one is the Cowboys on the road against the Panthers. So another 10.5 point spread, but that's not even the biggest one. And the biggest one is the Raiders on the road in Miami. So we have four games with some pretty big spreads. So how do you feel about those big spreads? I mean, does that kind of make you worried a little bit like we were talking about before, or that doesn't phase
Constantly.
you any?
Because like, no, it does. I worry about it all the time. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense that like a team is gonna light up the scoreboard, but all it takes is for the other team to just pull within just 10 points or 11 points or whatever. Like that's nothing.
Yeah.
Like to lose by that much, I don't know. But I feel like most times, so maybe I gotta start just going with the heavy hitters.
How are you doing in that league overall?
I don't know what my rank is specifically. I've
Yeah.
won some money a few times, nothing more than fifth place. So pennies on the dollar. But
All right. Well, I'm struggling quite a bit this year. Oh, there you are. So you're in 10th out of 26. Not bad, top half. Uh, and you are where is it? 78 and 72. So 6 games over 500. Not bad. Take it.
yeah, it's not the worst.
That's a tough league. So there's a few guys here at the top that I don't know very well. Some of John's friends, but the leader is 91 and 59. That's pretty good. Was that 32 games over 500? Yes. I'd love to
Yeah,
be that.
yeah.
And then I'm right at 500 actually, 75 and 75. So it's been a little bit of a difficult year on that one. But like I said, I enjoy it. It gives me something to watch, and I'm invested in each game too. Even though it's like $10 a week for all of these games. It's even though like if you break it down, it's like less than $1 per game that you're throwing it. But hey, it's a little skin in
Yeah,
the game. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
how about an upset to win here? Let's check out these records. Guest is not doing
Oof.
too good, Brian. So you're gonna gotta try to pick it up for everybody. So 1-6 for the guests. I'm 4-3. So who do you got this week for an upset to win?
Uh, I'm thinking the Vikings with they got Josh Dobbs out there, and they're I don't know 3 points against a Denver team that was bad. Maybe they're not anymore. I don't know, but I think Josh Dobbs is just going to keep being electric for them.
Yeah, if you didn't take this one, I probably would have as well. And I agree with you. And yeah, Denver's played much better football the last couple weeks, but I am riding that Josh Dobbs train right along with you there, and I think I think they're gonna beat them up, and it is in Denver, but yeah, I think it's gonna be the Vikings game to lose. So this week there's that Thursday night game there. I'm gonna go with our my trusty Cincinnati Bengals that just lost to the Texans last week, but I think
Going
they're gonna
against your boy Obi, jeez.
I know that's why I told him I was pretty upset that it's not the pick that I would have made, but that's all right. So I'm going with them. Like we talked a little bit about that. That'll be a fun game to watch tomorrow night, and um I think they can do it. I mean, there was some interesting um I mean, it was tough. It was really tough. Like you said, we had 4 games with some pretty big point spreads. So you just don't you're not sure what to do. I mean, okay, I'll just rattle through the rest of them. So the Pittsburgh Steelers are 3.5 point dogs against the Browns, which might be another good one, another AFC North matchup. But the Browns, not that Deshaun Watson has done really shit this year, but they just put him on IR now, so he's done for the year. He's gonna go get some surgery in his shoulder. Chicago's 9.5 point dogs against Detroit. Not seeing that. Packers dogs at home. I'm sorry, but I don't think that they're gonna be winning that one.
Yeah.
Raiders in Miami. Like I said, here's a Tennessee is almost 7.5 point underdogs against Jacksonville. The Cardinals are 6 point dogs against Houston. 7 point Jets, 7 point dogs against Buffalo. I mean, I don't know. There's some tough ones in here. I'm not sure where I'd go with it, but yeah, there's some tough ones there for um some underdogs to win. So it was tough. That was a tough one to call. Besides,
Yeah.
I think, like you said, that Minnesota one, I think that might be it. That's a Sunday night game too. So before we wrap this up, tell me what your thoughts about the Super Bowl rematch.
The rematch.
Yeah, there you
I
got
think it's
the
gonna be. I
Eagles
mean,
and
I'm
Chiefs.
like, I'm glad it's prime time. I'm like, that's gonna be might be the best game of the season.
Yeah, it really would. And the Eagles are dogs in Kansas City, but I mean it's gonna be, I'm sure she who shall not be named is gonna be up in the stands for that one.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I agree. I'm looking forward to it. So I'm glad that it's a primetime game too. Monday night, those are always fun. So like, do you have like do you personally have like a preference on whether you'd watch a Sunday or a Monday night game, or don't you really care?
No, I don't. It's they're on either way, so I don't
Yeah,
know. It doesn't bother me either way.
yeah, I mean, I like watching those night games. I guess I don't know if it's nice. I mean, I love this. They usually have a pretty good Sunday night matchup. But I don't know if it's there's by the time Sunday night rolls around, I don't know if I'm just like, I need a little breather or not. But I usually get pretty tired by the end of that one. But Monday nights,
Yeah,
I'm rejuvenated from the day of football.
I could feel that, and I do enjoy the Mannings too. I don't know if you watched that portion of the Monday Night Football, but I like the banter there. So,
Do you watch them the whole time?
yeah, I think so. Sometimes I'll switch, but most of the time I'll have mine. If nothing else, it's on the background. I don't focus too hard sometimes in the games, but I do enjoy listening to their perspective.
Yeah, and it is two of some very, very good quarterbacks, obviously. And yeah, it is kind of fun listening to one, like you said, the banter between the two brothers and two guys that know what the hell they're talking about.
Hmm.
And it's really funny too watching them because they just like the Mannings, all those boys just always just have this goofy look on their face, right? So, and it's funny because it's the camera's facing them and they're just so locked in to that game, and sometimes they just sit there and stare and don't say anything with their mouths open.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing? Like you have like millions of people listening to you. It's one of you but should start saying something here. It's just kind of just that blank stare with your mouth open. But yeah, they are. That's a good twist that they added on to Monday night. I watch that every once in a while too, just to switch things up. So, but well, Brian, got any other thoughts before we shut her down?
No, nothing specific. I guess I'm gonna make my playoff push here with my team, but I'm gonna make it very publicly known that I'm not trying to repeat what happened last year because it's might be impossible. But yeah, I'm excited for the rest of the season to play out.
Yeah, I am too, and I am like you just got to make it to the big dance, and then anything can happen. That's the my thing. I feel like that's all you can do, and then like like you said, I'm excited for the rest of the year too. We got 4 more weeks until playoff time, so should be a fun stretch. I mean, hopefully, I mean there. I feel like there's a pretty big. There's a like we're in like 3 tiers right now. Real good, real bad, and then those guys just kind of fluttering right there. So, and I think that those,
Yeah.
I think that those tiers are going to start to separate themselves a little bit more too, after this year. So, you just kind of you're gonna obviously we're gonna try to stay up towards the top, but like I said, anything can
Yeah.
happen. Make the playoffs. As long as we don't have any unfortunate circumstances like we did last year in the championship game, and then we'll all be good. Can't wait for the
Yeah.
next hand out the next trophy. Not the next trophy, re-hand out the trophy. I'm not
Big
getting none
trophy.
of those. Yeah. So, all right. Well, Brian, hey, thanks for coming on. It's been fun. Enjoy that Packer game on a Sunday. I'm yeah, it'll be a beautiful day in Wisconsin.
Yeah, will do. Thanks. Thanks for having me again.
Hell yeah. All right, later.
Yep. See ya.